Okay, so part two of raising sheep. So in the first video, I went through basically, you are getting your lambs. You've allowed them to grow to a certain size. You've been able to spend time with them, study them, really just pay attention to how they move, how they are, because again, there's only but so much you're going to be able to learn from a book. So once you get your lambs, and I would recommend you get them about this size right here. This is a good size in order to get your lambs and to start off a flock. They're small, and you can just spend time learning how they are. So what happens after that is that you introduce a ram into your flock, and immediately what is going to happen is that they're going to start mating. And then about 5 months later, you're going to get an increase. Now, typically, depending on the size of the lamb, the rams, and the ewes, you can get 2 offspring per birthing cycle. So you have a 5-month gestation period, and then they drop the twins typically, and it proceeds from there. So you can see how quickly you can grow a flock if you have 4 lambs and each one of them have babies. You can see the multiplying effect that can happen very quickly, and then shortly after they give birth, about 1 or 2 months later, they can get pregnant again and do the process all over again. So you can see how quickly you can increase your flock, and it is quite interesting and wonderful to see, because you start off with 4, and then you have 8, then you have 16, then you have 32, then you have 48, and so forth and so on. But, I've realized that with the size of my field, front and the back, as well as the sides, because when it comes to this property, it is completely fenced off. The inner perimeter of the property, as well as the outer perimeter of the property, is completely fenced off. So even if they got out of the area, and this is why I did the raised beds. You see, I don't really mow over in here in the fall time, because when I let them out, they just roam and they just eat all of this stuff as well. So I'm not concerned with necessarily, the sides in this area over here, because they go ahead and eat it. You see how they stick their head out of the fence and they eat the borders? All of this is food. But that's another video. But the idea is that that's how you're going to want to begin to increase your flock. And when you're looking at a ram, you want to make sure that they're nice and healthy. You want to go to, just like you're in a position to buy lambs to begin a flock, you want to go to the actual farm to see how they were raised, how they were cultivated, how they were treated. You want to make sure that you're not buying diseased animals, because people will sell you a diseased animal. It's a damn shame. But the idea is, if you know what you're looking for, if you know, just by paying attention to how the sheep are behaving, you can tell if a sheep is healthy or not. You see? Check the coat. Look at the coat of this one. She is the daughter of her right here. And she gave birth to her. So you see how quickly this process can take place right here? So the idea is that that's her mother right there. And that's how that works. You can increase a flock very quickly, but you got to make sure that you have the room necessary to grow a flock. And the typical size of your pasture, it means I think the numbers are, you need to have an acre for every 10 lambs that you have. I think those are the numbers. But if you have those numbers, then you can, increase your flock to that size. Because if you have too much flock and not enough acreage to maintain that flock. Diseases can develop very quickly. And again, I recommend a pasture. Now, when it comes to feeding the sheep in the wintertime, I would also recommend that you get locally grown hay. You can feed them grain as well, but locally grown hay is going to be your best bet, as well as any organic grain that you can source. What I've noticed as well is that when it comes to getting this, it's very difficult to find good organic grain. So I do minimal on that. But the overall is that you want to make sure that they have a good amount of pasture area. You want to make sure that they have a good source of hay. You want to make sure that they have enough space. Again, these animals are not designed to be in closely confined spaces. They're designed to have area that they can roam and frolic and jump. I mean, it's interesting to see a happy sheep. They'll jump and they'll frolic and everything. They'll really get into it. But the idea is that, you want to make sure that they have enough room in order to get it done. Okay, so that's dealing with the notion of starting a flock and ensuring that you can source them in such a way that you can ensure that they're not sick or anything like that, because sheep do get sick. I'll be doing a video on that. Birthing cycles, sheep getting sick. Another thing now that I'll be talking about in a future video is you see their hooves, just like cows, just like horses. You need to maintain their hooves, okay? Another critical aspect of raising sheep. I mean, try going ahead and getting a whole bunch of lambs to clip their nails. It is a very interesting and grueling process. But there you have it. I'll do some more videos talking about raising sheep and cultivating a flock. But there you go. All right. Shalom.